So, welcome to the Old Fashioned Podcast. I'm Matt Schaeffer, and with me is Gary Bell. And this is a podcast that is revolving around the experience that we have together in the 12-volt car audio community. And this is the first episode of the podcast here that we recorded. We kind of stumbled into it. We were checking our mics, checking our equipment, just trying to figure out even how to do a podcast. So, this is the Unintentional Podcast, episode number 1. Here we go.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune when I'm back on top in June. I said that's life.
Okay, so testing. Like, pretend like we're doing this, I guess.
Yeah. So
Welcome.
what do you think of the name Old Fashioned Podcast, car audio podcast?
I think it's good because we're old, and there's definitely a generation or two below us coming up, and I feel like we kind of have this. We have a lot of things in common. We both
He-
love drinking old fashions.
yeah,
We're
here's
both old.
that's why it's apropos. Now, obviously, you always rock the fedora, and I feel like that's notoriously like an old man bit, right? So I feel like I enjoy old fashions. Anytime that we're together at CES or SEMA, we always enjoy an old fashioned. You always wear the fedora, which further dates you.
Yeah, I'm just going with it at this point. It's
So I
it's
mean, I feel like old fashioned podcast works out well.
yeah, yeah. I I definitely dig the old school vibe, and I think that we'll probably upset some of or I guess maybe not attached to the younger generation, but they'll get it and laugh at us. That's fine. I'm okay
Yeah.
with that at
And I
this
feel
point.
like I feel like anyway, anyone that's gonna be listening to this podcast, they're gonna be probably older people who had systems in their 20s rocking some JBL and Rockford PPI and a bunch of other bullshit. So
Why do you call it bullshit?
I'm terminology.
I'm gonna ask you that right now, just real early in us doing this. So, what's your take on old school gear?
It's kind of like Jurassic Park. It holds up. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yep.
I don't mind it. Good stuff's good stuff. I feel like I think there's a way around dating audio. I think video obviously can progress, but some of the older stuff is built really well, and they don't build things like that anymore with the same type of components and detail.
I feel like the one thing that always surprises me is that everything has a noise floor that I'm not used to now. We've been using high-end gear. I try not to install junk or garbage or entry-level stuff, but I feel like just I don't I need to knock on some wood right now, but I don't remember the last time I had to, like, really troubleshoot some hardcore noise issues
Yeah.
where I feel like 25 or 30 years ago, 1 out of 3 cars, you were trying to figure out some sort of ground loop or background hiss or whatever it was, and I
And
I
I
feel like
feel
we
like
can
I feel like in today's car audio, because there is such little noise and it's so easily avoidable that anytime you hear the most minute noise, you're like, what is happening? And
yeah.
here's a perfect I don't even know if I told you this, but this the Jeep Wrangler build that I just finished up, we were supposed to do Moscone Pro 110 on every speaker, right?
I remember you
Um,
telling me that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what we planned for. The pictures that I took before I tuned it had all the Moscone Pro 110s, literally both front tweeters had a 110, both mid-range had a 110, both sixes in the dash had a 110, and the rear sound bars running off of Moscone Pro 530, and the fifth channel was supposed to go to a sub.
Oh,
As
oh.
we start tuning it, I play everything and I'm listening to the speakers and I'm like, what is that noise? And from the mid range and tweeter, I just heard like this, it almost sounded like white background noise, like a small noise floor, amplified nothing. And the first thing I do is unplug the RCAs to see if it's even coming from DSP or signal, and still continues to do it, and basically eliminate it all the way to the amplifier. And I call Nick, and I'm like, dude, you gotta. Have you ever had this noise issue on a 110 if you're running it in, SQ mode, because there's like a switch on the amp to where you can get
The
like full power for a sub, and then you can put it in full range mode.
right, and does that also have a DSP direct like the 530?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep. So tried it on DSP Direct. The noise is still there, even though it does go down a little bit. I put low pass on, noise is eliminated. So basically, the power supply was switching, and you could hear that noise when it's in full range mode, direct or not. It took a second phone call back to Nick to tell Alan, their engineer, like, no, put a TBM tweeter up to your ear and listen for it. You're gonna hear it, because 3 out of 3 amps that I tested have the same exact noise floor. He did it. Sure enough, they scoped it. They found the issue, and I guess let Moscone know. So I was in a mad scramble trying to figure out like how to proceed, because everything was trimmed out in this trunk for all these 110s. So I just switched it up and did a 410 bridged on each tweeter and bridged on each mid range. So we went from 4 110s to 2 410s
gotcha.
bridged, right?
Now 410 is AB and 110 is
410
Class
is
D?
AB, yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah, 110 is Class D. But obviously, like I said, it does have a switched mode for it to be full range.
right, and was it, like, possibly impedance related to where the output filter on the Class D wasn't I know the Utopia stuff is it 3 ohm on everything? Or 3 ohm on the mids? I
I
don't
I want to say it used to be
remember.
3 ohm on the sub. I don't think it's. I
For
don't
some
think
reason,
it.
I feel
Yeah, I
like the
think all
mids are
the
like a
speakers are 4 ohm.
2.7 DCR, at least on the I was just looking at this for a customer. The 6s I think the 6s and the 8s are 2.7 DCR.
Yeah.
Uh,
So we had thought about
weird.
different options, trying to change the impedance and all that kind of stuff. And for me at first, I just kind of chalked it up to the sensitivity of the speaker and just really exposing that amp at its floor. Put the 410s in, completely quiet, bridged on each set of channels for the mid range and tweeter. And then I just took the spot where I had the two last 110s in the trunk, and I just put like a 20 farad cap, stinger cap in there, just to kind of help with stabilizing the voltage back there.
Yep.
Apparently, another shop had actually two other shops had done 110s on tweeters and mid range and didn't say that there was an issue, even though there had to be an issue.
Right, didn't
Um,
somebody compete at finals like that or something? I for some
Somebody
reason,
did
I feel
something,
like
but there was
somebody telling me
absolutely
that.
noise, and
Yeah,
I think a lot of installers probably just would have shipped it and said, "Yeah." I mean, to be honest, like
yeah,
my wife's Mazda CX-9, that thing has like a stupid floor noise, just nothing playing. It's a obvious white noise that you can hear at zero volume. So like this Jeep, obviously most people would have just shipped it and been like, it's completely normal. I
yeah.
hear louder in most typical systems. You know what I'm saying? But when you deal with some clients, I mean, they're doing a system like that. It has has to be
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, no, it's fine when I'm at home, I'm staring at my, vintage Sansui receiver, and,
Hmm.
that's part of the character of some older gear, it's not like, if I'm gonna listen to a record, the the pops and the clicks and the noises are part of the experience, not the experience I want in a car.
No.
Definitely not. Not the
And
place
to be
for
honest, it's a Jeep Wrangler and it's a diesel. So I mean, not I mean, the second you turn the car on, you're even if it had pretty loud noise, you're not really going to hear it. But at the same
Yeah,
time, perfection's perfection. Anything, a dead pixel on a TV can ruin an experience. You know what I'm saying?
that's for sure.
Once
That's for
once
sure.
somebody would focus in on that and know that that's there, it ruins the whole experience.
Yeah, and again, it's one thing if they were coming in beating you up over budget and it was $1,000 system or
Yeah, yeah, that's one
$1,500.
thing.
Totally different thing in the scenario of what you're
So
creating.
again, yeah, and some people obviously, and the thing I hate about like today's world is, I'll post that build to YouTube at some point, and you'll have a ton of comments of people just being like, "Why would you do all that in a Jeep Wrangler?" And I get it, it's a loud vehicle, but if that's the vehicle that the dude has the most fun in and he has the budget to make it sound good, why not make it sound good? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it depends customer to customer. I mean, I have some customers that are tight with every single penny and some that just really don't care, and some guys that are, here's a number, stick to it, whatever you can do for that dollar amount. And I mean, yeah, I think it's all about having fun and in that environment where the car is the only place you can really beat on a audio system and not have somebody to answer to. If I crank up my home system, I'm going to piss off the neighbors or my wife or the dog or somebody. And in the car, you can crank it up, and the majority of the time by yourself. When I have people in the car, it's not like I'm cranking the system. We're usually having a conversation
Mhm.
or there's some background music on, but you're not rocking out.
Mhm.
And so yeah, so that's the place to have that kind of experience. It's the only place you can have like a pressurized audio experience.
Mhm.
And yeah, why not? Who cares? Who cares what car it is? We're doing audio in a SV Aventador, Roadster right now, and it's like I'm talking to the customer, and it's like, the thing's straight pipe, right? Like, it's like, it's not gonna be great when it's done, right? No matter what we do, like, don't let's not go overboard because it's
Right.
not the car for it, but
No, but
crappy
you
audio is crappy audio, so
yeah,
we'll get rid of that.
people about certain cars, like the Porsche, GT3 I did, where I did, like, the full Utopia system, carbon fiber enclosure, and all that stuff. You have the Porsche enthusiast just really hammering on, like, anytime I shared something, "Why would you add all that weight GT3?" It's it's tough. Somebody always has something to say, and, like, that dude, okay, he buys a GT3, and again, we were the most weight conscientious as we could be on that car, utilizing, like, carbon fiber and birch and minimal sound treatment where it was necessary. But again, that car is going to be faster than a regular 911. People just assume a car is for one thing, and Jeeps are for off-roading, and Porsches are for driving fast and taking to the track. But at the end of the day, cars speak to people, right? You might be a Jeep guy, you might be a Porsche guy. And I'll tell you right now, any one of those people who's a track enthusiast with a Porsche, they were to hop in that Porsche, guess what? It's still not slow. Maybe now there's a small child weighing 75 pounds in the passenger seat, or maybe it's a difference from a 225-pound guy to a 180-pound guy. They don't say anything of a fat guy drives a Porsche. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are just the things that I think about in my head. I'm like, listen, you're not making this Porsche a freaking Jeep Wrangler now. You know what I'm saying? It's still a super fast car. The difference is going to be minute, but now you can drive that car and feel like you're in cruising USA.
Yeah, I feel like there's more enjoyment. You're adding more enjoyment to the car for the majority of its life and use. It's not you're sitting in traffic, you have a commute, whatever you're using the car for, likelihood of that car being on the track is 1% of its lifetime.
Right. And even if
That
it's at the track, what are you talking about? 1/10 of a second
right,
versus, having something that sounds like reference audio in your car that if you wanted to, as you're driving it, just say 90 miles an hour down the street, you don't hear the engine at all if you didn't want to, and you
right.
just feel like you're at the front row of a concert. I mean, sign me up.
Yeah, for sure. We did that. I think I showed you pictures of that 964 we did last year, and we went one kind of further where we tried to integrate the performance and the audio system together, and we actually built a strut tower bar, a 4-point strut tower bar in the front that became the amp rack. And I really wanted to kind of blend, like, I wanted to kind of take that hater mentality of audio away from those purists and do this amp rack that was form and function at the same time and served a dual purpose, was lightweight as possible, and not the usual, hey, somebody siliconed a board to the gas tank and screwed an amp to it type of scenario that a lot of those guys have and don't even realize it. So it turned out really nice, and again, trying to save weight. And
Yeah, I mean, form and function's key. Like, I feel like if you're doing something that respects the car, respects the design, respects what the car was made for, then why not do it if somebody wants to do it?
yeah.
I get if we are just mutilating a Porsche and putting some monstrosity in there, not paying attention to detail and obviously adding a ton of weight by doing things in a different way, but that's not how we address certain cars, and that's why certain clients drop off those type of cars to us.
Yeah, the same guys that complain about that won't complain when some dude shoots drywall screws through his amp
Yeah,
into the floorboard.
yeah, yeah. They don't
But
know. They don't
you're
know.
not I think the comedian Mitch Hedberg, he
Of
passed away,
course.
but,
Yeah, who doesn't?
one of his favorite my favorite lines of his was, "You can't please all the people all the time, and last night, all those people were at my show."
Yeah, but
Yeah.
another thing you hit on was, just talking about pressure in a car, and this guy in particular, super home audio geek, never had done any kind of system in a car. And the way that I describe to him is just for me personally, with some of the home systems and reference systems I was able to hear, I was able to go to France and listen to their grand utopias in their sound room on the name amps, and really awesome setup. And even though it sounds unbelievably clear and real, at the end of the day, I feel like the best car audio system still trumps that. And it's
Yeah.
based on the pressure that you're feeling inside the car that adds to the realism of the music being played live. Because a lot of times when you're in a venue and you really have that overpowering of an abundance of speakers, you feel that pressure. Whereas in a typical home system that most people would have, that you would consider very high end, you don't get the same type of pressure. You get the reference, you get the sound quality, you get the believability, tonality, all those things, but you don't get that pressure. And when you're ripping Pink Floyd Money right in the beat breakdown of the middle, and you feel just all that air moving and all the speakers are invisible, it's a captivating experience that you're just not going to get on your home system.
Even a decent set of home bookshelf speakers, studio monitors, have good detail, they have good tonality, they're controlled, they're easy to aim, it's easy to sit near field and get a great experience listening to
Mhm.
music. And the difference between y a $500 set of speakers for the house and a $50,000 set of speakers for the house, it's always a trade-off. There's recording studio monitors that have such detail to them because you're listening near field. And as soon as you create distance and you increase the size of the room, you need to complicate things because you need the output.
Mhm.
And usually the trade-off on a big set of towers in the house is that you lose some of that detail and you gain output.
Mhm.
So you can get quote unquote better sound out of smaller speakers and listening closer. The
Mhm. Of
trade-off
course.
is
Yep.
you're not gonna have the insane amounts of bottom end, you may be missing that last octave or half an octave on the bottom end. There's some trade-offs, but there always are, and it's the same thing in a car, but getting those speakers pointed at you, every speaker kinda naturally has a smooth response when it's pointed at you. It may have a few resonances and peaks and
Mhm.
dips, and it's the car environment that screws up the majority of it.
Right.
But yeah, get some
And the
decent
car
speakers.
environment, in my opinion, is also what makes the magic happen, right? Because I feel like when you're sitting at a home, subliminally, you're going to sit in the center, knowing
Right.
that it's between both speakers.
Yep.
Whereas when you're in a car, you're staring at the different locations of where the speakers are. So now when the speakers completely disappear and you're with the understanding that there's like 9 speakers in this car, let's just say, and it sounds like there's one massive speaker, I think that also adds to the experience because you're just like, I can't wrap my head around what's happening right now. Again, it's the best way to describe it is like seeing a magic trick. It's hard to understand that. And then as you hear it like you do, also not having the experience of ever hearing something like that before, it's a new experience. So that's also adding to the experience.
Right.
So, I think that in my opinion, the best car system, and maybe it's just because I work on cars for a living, but the best car systems always move me more than really, really good home high-end audio systems.
Yeah. How many of your customers play instruments? Like, do you have those conversations with them?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I've actually had a few clients that are producers and master music. So I had one guy with a Tesla X one time. We did a pretty high end audio system. It might have been like 30 grand. And he wanted to use it to be like a mobile studio to which he can listen to the music that he's mixing, right? And it's funny because like generally when I do demos after I'm done, I'll play a plethora of different types of music, but right off the bat he kind of just gave me the Heisman and he just threw on his own music. And I'm like, "Oh, all right, you can play whatever." And then the first couple songs he played, I had no idea what he was playing. It sounded good. It was recorded well, it was clean, but I had no idea what he was playing. So he was just kind of doing his own demo and listening for exactly where things should image. And when he was able to hear some of the things, he even made one note about like two different guitars that were playing that on his studio, the guitars sound very close, and that's not exactly how I guess it was recorded. And he said that the card that we did was a more accurate representation of how the music was recorded. So you take that for, what it's worth. I've had other people that have had, I would consider high end home audio systems and say that they've found random issues in their home system based on our car system, which is always fun. But yeah, and that's kind of what I told the guy with the Jeep Wrangler. He spent like 20 grand on cables for his home system and kind of explaining to him, listen, a great car system is seriously captivating, and not a lot of people experience it. Not even a lot of people in our industry ever experience it. It's just one of those things where you have to eliminate a lot of things that the car has in order to make it work.
That's awesome. I love when you get somebody who plays drums. Like that's one of the you're saying
Yeah,
about
yeah,
fresh
yeah, yeah,
guys
yeah.
in the car, but you get somebody who plays drums and sits behind a drum set. And when you're sitting behind the drum set and you can actually feel every time you strike a drum, you're feeling it and the decay is so it's just hard to recreate. And in a car, when you nail that, like those guys are more appreciative. Like they've heard more bad stereo systems
Hmm.
and with just sloppy bass and you get something that sounds accurate like that. That's really impressive. And especially those people. I love doing those types of systems for the people that truly appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's funny, the Cadillac Escalade we did over the winter, where we did like, we did Focal Utopia M in the front. We did two 8-inch mid bass in each front door. The sound dampening in the car was like made that thing a tank. Like we didn't care about weight on this car. I mean, it was sound treatment out the wazoo. Moscone Pro 110 on each mid bass, on each Raven 10 sub, three of them in total in the back. And when this particular client took his car home, he played it for his mom. This might be one of, I know you have some awesome stories. This is definitely, I think, my best story. And he played it for his mom, and his mom said, "Hey, play this song by Elvis." He had his Astel and Kern player, so she was sitting in the driver's seat. He played the song, and through the end of the song, his mom, the way he explained it to me, was completely in tears, And he said he hadn't seen like an emotional side like that from his mom in a long time. So he knew that like something had happened, and he asked, "What happened? What does that song mean to you?" And apparently, this guy who got the car done, his grandmother was Betty Davis, famous actress from Hollywood,
Wow.
right? Hollywood royalty back in the day. So the mom told him, "When I was 12 years old, I was at mom's estate in Maine, and Elvis recorded this song at mom's estate,
Oh gosh.
and I was there to see it.
Oh my gosh.
So me hearing this song right now transcends me back in time to when I was 12, and I can hear, I can taste, I can smell as a 12-year-old."
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
That's insane.
tell me that's not a good story.
That's absolutely insane.
And
Absolutely.
the same car, I guess the guy's uh, apparently he had sold, I guess, Jeezy the rapper a Ducati quite a while back. So I guess he's friends with Jeezy in that Atlanta rap group. And he had went and traveled to Atlanta. And again, story he told me was that he was in Atlanta picking up some Ducati parts, and he had stopped by to see Jeezy, and Jeezy listened to his car. And when he was, I guess he played a certain song off his newer album, something with some orchestra music or more classical music. So not like I would guess the prototypical Jeezy music. It's something that meant something to him about his mom. And apparently he said it sounded better than his studio, and then started yelling at his manager, "How does white boy have a car that sounds better than my studio?" And then just joking at him, saying that he was fired.
Oh, that's funny. That's so funny.
But yeah, I mean, it's fun. And again, the expectations of what people are led to believe what a great car sounds like, they don't know. And again, there's many variations of that detail that we talk about. But at the end of the day, as long as you can kind of eliminate that car, it's going to be magical for anyone.
Yeah, and, obviously what you do what your average system is, I would say, is light years ahead of what most even most of what my customers do and are in for. You've kinda created this nice little nook for yourself of getting to do some really, really crazy, really insane stuff, and, um, it's not a whole bunch of people that get that opportunity, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, and it's funny because I don't personally have anything in my car. I'm finally going to do something to my wife's car, but I don't have anything in my own car because my enjoyment is really daily when I listen to all these cars. You know what I'm saying? So I don't need anything for myself because every day I'm in a car that sounds great. And
How
I
long is
get
your
that fulfillment of listening to music. And that's my favorite part of the whole job. And the way that I typically operate is I'll do the whole audio side first, really, and leave fab for last, the way my design process works. So I can basically listen, critique the system, say a client comes in or somebody's trying to sell a job up front, and I have at least something they can sit in and listen to. And as I demo it, as I'm building the car, I have another opportunity to critique it. Granted, I'm sitting on the passenger side, but I can still listen for like something resonating in the car, things like that to just document in my head, okay, I hear this in the car on this song at this frequency. So I can play it back before I deliver it and make sure that resonance is gone. So it really helps me towards the end of the build figure out all the little issues that might destroy a soundstage.
how long is your commute to work in the morning?
My commute is about 3 minutes,
Oh
if that.
gosh, that's insane. That's why you don't have a system in your car.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. So I drop my daughter off at work. I hit Dunkin' Donuts and then I hit work, and it's all in a matter of 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. You just said you dropped your daughter off at work, which is pretty awesome because how old is she and you're putting her to work already?
Did I say that?
You did.
Oh no.
It's all good. All good. Yeah, I've been trying to build the system since I bought my BMW. What was that? Probably 3 years ago.
Oh, you still haven't built that?
the amps are mounted, blah, 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 blah. Just last priority, right? And then I'm finally getting ready to take that car apart, and I've been splitting time between driving the BMW and driving the work van. And I was like, you know what? The BMW is going to be down. We're going to do some engine stuff, get it, kind of back into shape. And I'm like, I should probably just put something in the van so I'll enjoy driving it when I don't get to drive the BMW for, a month or two while it's apart. So I did a little system in the van, and I literally just I didn't drive the BMW once in, like, 5 weeks, and I just did a
Mm,
little two-way with a single 10 in it, dialed it in, like, nothing crazy, but, a nice set of tweeters in there, and I was just like it was so nice, even on my 15-minute drive each way to get a
mhm,
couple of songs in each way, and it really kinda puts a smile on your face, makes you have a new outlook for the day. The other thing I really like, and you kind of touched on this with doing cars for guys that spend time in a studio, is that it gives you another point of reference. Like I don't turn
mhm.
on my
Of
home
course.
system that often. I have a very, very fortunate to have a very nice setup at home, and I probably turn it on 8 times a year, maybe, and sit down
Mhm,
for, an hour or 2 to listen, but that's not enough, and having something in the
mhm,
car that I can just have that point of reference every day, it really helps when you go to tune a car,
mhm.
and, it's kinda one thing we were talking earlier about tuning stuff, but I think one of the biggest things with tuning is to know when something isn't right, and then obviously diagnosing what
For
isn't
sure.
right. And you
Yeah.
can look at stuff on an RTA, you can listen to stuff, but
Mhm,
like you can sit in a car and in 30 seconds you can tell if the delays are correct or anywhere
mhm.
near close, right?
100%. Yeah,
And
I did that today. I was tuning this Lexus, and I turned off all the delays so I could clarity check the speakers, and then I forgot to reapply the delays. I tuned it, sat in the car, and then I just played, I go through my whole process where I play just both front tweeters to hear where it stages. And I'm like, okay, and then I keep changing it. And I'm like, that doesn't sound as perfect as it should. And then do the mids, and I'm like, well, the mids should always be right there, right off the bat. They weren't. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I'm like, oh god damn it. And then I looked, and sure enough, everything was set at 0. So go back through it and get back in, and then I mean, it's that experience, that expectation of that repetitive nature of knowing exactly what to expect at what point during the whole job, that you just know, and you know when you have a problem.
right,
And
and I think
that
that's experience. That's a
yeah,
lot of that is experience, but having a
yeah.
reference that you listen to every day, and especially reference tracks. And now that we're doing this, we should probably start sharing some sort of playlist. I'm excited. That's one thing we haven't talked about. I'm gonna have to pull up. I use Spotify because I have Sonos at home that we use
Mhm.
for multi-room music, and since I had the premium Spotify, I've just kind of stuck with it. And I have my tuning playlist and my demo playlist and
Mhm.
those sorts of things. So I'm always interested as we talk about what songs
Yeah,
we
it would
like
be
to
a fun combo to
listen
say, okay,
to. Yeah,
checking for center, what's the first song you start with?
yeah.
What's the second song you start with?
Yeah, and it's a couple things. There's a couple songs where I to the point now where we tune so many cars that it's just, "Oh, yep." You can listen to 30 seconds and be like, "This is all wrong, all
Mhm.
wrong."
Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, that's the other thing, is having that reference, and doing so many systems with the same type of equipment makes it really easy to understand the expectations. And, whenever clients call me and they're like, hey, man, I got my own equipment, I have, a bunch of stuff that I typically don't deal with. I never have a problem with installing it, but at the end of the day, I have to explain to them that I don't really know the limits and capabilities of what to expect from the equipment, right?
right,
If I'm installing a set of FLAC speakers from Focal, I pretty much know their limitations and what the best version of FLACs is going to sound like.
right,
Same with Kevlar, same with Utopia. If you hand me some random speaker that is still a good brand, I wouldn't have a problem installing it. But at the end of the day, I don't know the same thing. So I can't with whole certainty say,
right,
this is the best version of this equipment that you can get, right? You can take it to anyone else to tune it. I can guarantee that this is the best this is going to get. And that's what I like to give the client and say, listen, you can pretty much take it anywhere. I don't think anyone can get more out of this equipment than we got here.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with that, and, oh, I'm in that same boat. I always use the analogy. I've had a few custom car projects where we'd get, like, paint sponsored, right? And one of the craziest things is every time if your painter sprays PPG, let him spray PPG,
Hmm.
right? If your painter is used to spraying Glycerin, let him spray the Glycerin. Like, just
Right.
they know the product inside and out, and they
Hmm.
know how to use it. They don't have to think about it. They're not experimenting. um, you're much better off just rolling with it, like rolling
Hmm.
with what the guy is comfortable in using. And when you walk through a car show and you see the top 10 paint jobs, chances are it's not all the same paint, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
the outcome has more to do with the person who's applying it and their knowledge of the product and what it takes to get to that high level,
Right.
more than like I used this paint.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's well said.
Yeah. So reference systems and the van, my work van, I I'm always a huge we talked about this before. I'm always a huge guy about value. And I saw an amplifier. Some company brought out an amplifier that seemed, by the price point and some of their previous products, seemed like a unicorn, right? Like seemed like this this amp is an insane value. And I immediately my mind goes into these system designs that I've always been trying to find. If only I could get a Moscone 1 8 channel for a third of the price,
Hmm.
we could do all these great systems, whatever. And so I found this amplifier, and I bought one and I put it in the van. I just straight pulled out the amplifier that was in there, set the Moscone processor that was in there to the side, and I put in this 5 channel amp with the processor built in. And I opened up the software and I'm like, and again, this is, I'll be nice. It's barely a level above swap meet crap, right? And I opened up the software and I was pleasantly surprised. We always talk about trying to learn a new DSP, and I have pretty much every single DSP software on my computer.
Right.
I've
Right.
tried just about everything. I know what I like and dislike about everybody's way of doing it. Nobody's
Correct.
perfect,
Yep.
um and I opened up this software and it was like using an iPhone for the first time. It was, like, intuitive. I was like, "Oh, this is real this is" I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, "This all it's laid out well." I'm like, "Wow." I was blown away. I turn it on, it's got power, and I'm like, "Holy crap." I'm just inside, I'm, like, giggling. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is insane. This is awesome." And then I drive it home,
Uh-oh.
and I'm driving home, and I'm like, "The heck is that?" Every time there was any hint of mid bass, I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" And it's what it ended up being is that there is an insane amount of crosstalk between the channels, so every time
Oh.
the mid bass hits, the tweeters go, I'm like, "Fuck."
I almost had it.
So bummed. It was so close, and
Almost had it.
obviously some sort of board level. I mean, I may get back in there and try to play with the gains and stuff to see if it's salvageable at all, but I'm like, it was so close, but it's obviously a board
Oh,
level issue and, no fixing it. Oh, well.
no.
Back to my Moscones.
No, I mean, that again, that would have been a great benefit if I was able to do all the 110s, just having that ultimate separation of everything, but, I mean,
Yeah.
we still kept it left, right. I mean, all when you look at the layout in the back, all the amps on the left are is the left channels and everything on the right's the right channel, so, I mean, we still separate it as best as we can, but what can you do?
What'd you use for source in that thing?
So there's an Alpine Restyle, that's our first preset, and then it's an Astel and Kern SP2000.
Nice. Have you played with any of the Stinger big radio stuff yet?
No.
We just did. It's pretty cool. We've been doing a lot of stuff with Stinger and just kinda trying stuff out and testing and trying to have a nice relationship
Mhm.
both ways, but we
Yeah.
just did that new 10-inch radio
Yep.
in a Tundra. that went to Baja for a week to just go off-roading and crazy, and we're like, "You want a
How'd
way
that
to
fare?
test it and
Yeah.
see if it's worth a shit?" And, Joseph we put in Joseph's truck, and he took down there and beat the crap out of it, and it held up. It's got a really nice picture, I really like it. It's seems to be a solid piece, and one thing I really like about it, it has a fiber optic out with volume, so it's a
Hmm, okay.
nice addition.
Yeah, I've had clients bring it up to me on certain projects. Like for instance, I have a G Wagon scheduled, probably about a month, where the client brought up that radio specifically and the Alpine Halo. And my decision from the two really was derived off aesthetics. And obviously, the Alpine looks more of like a European
Yeah,
modular screen, and the the Stinger one looks more of like a GM Ford, more
right.
rugged type of design.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to see the new, is it 11-inch Alpine when it comes out? 10-inch, 11-inch? There's another Halo coming,
Hmm.
that's bigger, but I think heck, this has been a strange year for products, so who knows? Maybe we'll see it next year.
Yeah.
Um, should definitely be
Speaking of
cool.
Alpine, obviously you have a big background with Alpine.
I spent a little time
Why
there.
did it take them so long to figure out how to put the navigation in the radio and the Bluetooth in the radio?
You're saying, you're going back
Yeah.
15 years type of
No,
thing? Or
no, not 15, maybe 10.
okay, yeah, I guess that's fair. I
Everyone
think it
else
was
had built-in Bluetooth, built-in nav.
well, the
Alpine, you
Alpine
still
Nav
had to.
was robust, right? Like, the Alpine navigation system was always robust, but it was I believe, and I don't know, how long have I been gone from there? Like, am I allowed to talk? I don't know. Um, cease and
You have to
desist.
admit, there was one point in your installation lifetime when you're installing an Alpine with Sirius, with
Oh
Bluetooth, with
gosh.
nav, and you're
You're like,
like,
"We're gonna need a bigger
"Wha
car."
yeah, what am I where am I supposed to put
Well,
this?"
no, remember that navigation, I'm trying to think about the most politically correct, nicest way to put there were a lot of things that were similar between that navigation system you're referring to and, let's say, a Honda or Acura navigation system.
Mhm. Yeah,
Lots of things were very similar.
yeah,
And so it was a platform that was built, and that's what they had, and that's what they ran with. And back in the day, the mapping side of that was insane. Like, it's not like the availability of maps is the same was the same back then as it is today.
right.
They were constantly working on those every single road and adding it in, and it was a slower time. I mean, think about your dial-up AOL modem and and
Mhm,
computer speeds and processor speeds and how all that stuff worked and the ability to compile data back then. It was a different world, and it took some time to change over and to give up that heritage. But I feel like Alpine's done a good job of being a leader and coming out with new things and bringing them to market. Um, but they hold on to them for a little longer. You know,
mhm,
I mean,
yeah,
think back. I mean, think like PDX amplifier. That was a game changer. Like,
yeah,
that was
yeah,
the
I think
first
that started the whole, small Class D amp movement.
yeah, and realizing that you could get good power and it could be clean and it's usable and yeah, and is it the highest quality amplifier? No, but, eh, when those packages came out and the code I'm trying to remember the code name for that project when it started was
Oh, it had a
whatever.
code name?
Yeah, yeah, whatever, what's a standard 8.5 by 11 piece of paper? Is it like a B
A9?
A9, whatever,
A9.
for some reason, I thought it was
It's
B something.
A9,
Okay,
100%,
so
or
that
A11, one of the 2.
whatever it is, that was the code name for the amplifier because the footprint of it is a sheet of paper.
Oh, dude, that
Yeah,
is a nugget.
that's a nugget. It's
That's a
definitely a
nugget
nugget.
no one on this pod has heard
Yeah,
before. 100%.
well, there's maybe a couple guys, if anybody from Alpine's listening, but, yeah, I mean, and you take that and that 1.1000 or that 4 by 150, and it's like, "Holy crap, that's a ton of power in that package." And
Hmm.
it literally changed everything. And now everybody I mean, I guess it's hard to think that was 15 freaking years ago.
Time flies, man.
It really does. You can count it by the pounds I've added on since then. Oh, good times.
So I
I don't
think
know. I don't know what
I
this
th-
was, Matt. What did we just do?
I think we just did our first pod.
I don't you just gonna roll with that, or was that a test?
No, I think that was a legit first pod. I mean, we didn't really describe much. I mean, we're the old fashioned podcast. We've said at this point we enjoy an old fashioned. You enjoy dressing old fashioned, apparently. Um,
My internals are all old-fashioned or
yeah,
just old, one of the 2.
yeah. I mean, this works. It's good old phone conversation style. I like it. It's
Yeah,
good.
considering my high-tech setup on my couch and the microphone crammed between the cushions and the dog
Hey,
barking and
everyone starts out like that on a pod. You go to anyone's first pod, you're going to hear a dog barking or stuff rustling around in the background.
well, before we wrap that up, then I have some questions.
Okay, shoot.
I figured that at some point in the future, we'll look back at this and be like, "Hey, remember that first time we did this?"
Yeah.
And, how many how what do you see the future of this? What do you want this to be?
I'm looking at it as a way to reflect, a way to force, I mean, not force conversation, but have conversation to maybe make you think differently. I feel like, you're a super smart dude. You've had a ton of experience. I feel like engaging in conversation can furthermore make me think differently about certain things. And maybe things that I say will make you think differently in certain situations. So it's only going to benefit us as we work, as we talk to clients and help clients try and figure out how to not get screwed by shops. I mean, that's the big thing. Our industry rides or dies with people's experiences, right? Because if everyone has a shitty experience, or if some client's willing to spend money has a shitty experience, he's not gonna keep going, right? He's gonna hop in that 2020 Mercedes with a Burmeister and be like, yeah, this is good enough.
Yeah.
And our job, which I've already done a 2020 Burmeister, is for them to know that that's not good enough. But the details lie in the execution. And if you talk about it and you say you're going to do it, obviously the proof is in the pudding. Client's got to sit in that car and you got to have done what you've said. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's where the experiences need to keep going. And there's too many shops out there that really don't even close get the full production out of the equipment.
Oh, 100%. I was having a conversation with a customer today who had been to multiple shops and talked to a lot of people, and he's like, he we're having a talk about basically system architecture and what we were doing in his truck, and he's like, all these guys just wanted to get a smile on my face by saying they were going to use this brand and it was this much money.
Hmm.
And he's like, he's like, I wasn't thinking about what it cost. I wasn't like, I'm not worried about the brand. I just want to
Hmm.
make sure that it's going to sound the way I want it to sound. And nobody basically took the time to have that conversation about what he was trying to achieve. It was just, oh, you want good sound, you should have these speakers.
Hmm.
And that's I think that's what's really different between, obviously I'm not like a retail car audio shop. I'm a guy buried in an industrial complex that likes to build stuff and make cars sound good. And so it definitely, anybody that comes to me, it's a different experience than a stack 'em high, watch 'em fly, or
Yeah. Yeah.
even the kind of normal high-end car audio shop.
Yeah, just going back to the experience real quick that I kind of spoke about earlier, all the different things that make the experience. I think the coolest part when you do like a really cosmetically cool system is obviously you demo the car first and they're like, holy shit, it's this is not what I was expecting. It was better than I was expecting, even though that you give high expectations before the client comes. But just the fact that you can, pop the trunk or show the back after they've listened to it and they didn't hear, say in a majority of cars, the subs in the back, and you do this big aesthetic thing and it looks awesome, and they didn't hear anything rattling back there. Nothing moved. It sounded phenomenal, and then they're blown away by the aesthetics. You know
Right.
what I mean? That's the coolest part. Like the dude with the Escalade, I don't even think we showed him anything first. Sat him in the car, and he was just like in tears listening to the music. And then you pop the trunk, and then you motorize the amp rack and blow the minds that way. And that also adds to the experience because you're like, it sounds like that, and then it looks like that, but I didn't hear anything back here moving.
Right. Yeah.
It's
I
all those
love
little details.
Yeah. I loved getting that phone call too, like, when I'm giving a demo and we're talking about the music and I'm showing people I I tend to try to teach people what to listen for
Hmm.
that's pointing
Of
out
course.
how good, because I deal with a lot of customers, we're not doing as many, you know, 30, 40, 50, $60,000 systems as you are. We I think we have a wider customer base where you tend to stick to you're doing a lot of really, really high-end cars
I
and a
mean,
lot of
not really. I
but
really do anything that comes in. I just kind of give them the expectations of what to expect at each level. I do my fair share of, 5, 6, 7 to 15,
yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
frequently
yeah,
as well.
yeah. Okay. Sorry to try to put you in that corner.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of my customers, we're really exceeding expectations,
Hmm.
and guys that may not even have a reference system at home, but are able to get something that's pretty special, and they actually kinda get their toes wet with a system, and a lot of these are truck-based systems that we do out here, and I always joke with them, and I always say, "I love getting that text message that, hey, I drove the truck home and I sat in the driveway for 2 hours listening to
Yeah, yeah,
music,"
yeah.
and, sure as shit, it's gotta be about once a week I get that text message,
Yeah,
and
my neighbors hate me. I've been in my garage for 4 hours. Yeah.
yep, yeah, it's always good to get those.
No, man, it's fun. I just love seeing people react, and people will say, how would anyone spend that much money on a car audio system, right? I get that all the time because of, some of the stuff that I do. But at the same time, and again, I'm just going to go back to the Escalade. If you sit in the driver's seat of the Escalade, put on whatever I mean, you don't even have to like the music it's playing. You're going to like it based on what you're feeling, right? It's going to invoke emotion out of you. And especially in the world of 2020, when you have so much political crap going on, when you have COVID, again, all this stuff going on, you can escape to that place. And it's literally like therapy. You could honestly get in that seat and say it's therapy because the stuff that it's going to do. And I even brought my neighbor over one day. My neighbor's always interested, and he's like, "Oh, I'd love to hear something you do sometime." And somebody who just would never even remotely be interested in audio, but you put them in that car, and you're like, "All right, let's play some stuff." And then
Yeah,
you're just like, holy crap. I get it. It goes from the cliche car audio. I don't want to hear my car rattling down the street. I don't know how many times every shop gets that. Clients describing what they want and what they don't want. They never want a car rattling down the street, right?
right,
They don't want to be heard coming down the street.
right. I
And
still get some of
that's
those
the
customers.
cliche. That's the
I get some
cliche
of
of.
those customers that want that, though.
See, I don't know. I haven't had that client in a long time, but that's the cliche of what our industry is and what we do. So for me, taking this seriously as a profession and trying to push the industry, I want the regular person to understand what it is we actually do and what it when you sit in a car like that, it makes you feel like you've never used your ears before. You know what I mean? I know
Right,
you've been in a car where you're just like, holy shit, this is amazing. It's literally using the entirety of your ear. Much like they always say, you don't use all your brain. And
Right.
sometimes there's certain hallucinogens or drugs that will bring out that part of your brain and make you use it. Same thing with your ears. I feel like there's something there that when it just hits you the right way, it just literally moves your whole body. It's
What
fun.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here. What was the
Go.
last car you sat in that somebody else built that you were impressed with?
So I feel like honestly today it's tough because it's either acceptable, mediocre, probably Brian Mitchell's Cadillac. I don't really go and listen to many at Knowledge Fest and, CES and the honestly, the main reason is because I can't hide my true emotion well, right? I don't I don't fake what I'm feeling ever. In fact, I've sat in a lot of cars and people have said, "What do you think?" But it's been more of like vendor stuff
Right? I've
where
been
it's
there.
like
I've
they're
been there.
demoing product and I'm just like, "Yeah, there's something wrong with this." It's not imaging right and it has issues. And so for me, I really don't want to put myself in a position where I have to be fake. So I try not to sit in a lot. Now, if somebody's like, "Hey, come listen to it," obviously I'll listen to it. But I would say that the last one that I was like, "Man, this sounds good," would have been probably something Brian did.
Yeah. Yeah, Brian's Cadillac sounds really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Yeah, it's really amazing. It's a lot of work to get
Hmm.
the speaker placement where it is, but yeah, I was definitely impressed with it.
Yeah.
It
I think
better
the big
exceeded
thing.
expectations, that's for
Yeah, I
sure.
think the big thing for someone like us when we sit in a car to be impressed, you you're going to have set expectations of where how wide you think the car's stage is going to be, right? So when you sit in a car and you're like, "Holy shit, wow," it's like they did a good job, right?
Right.
Um, things like that is what's going to impress you. I don't think like imaging or sound quality is or tonality and stuff like that is really going to wow you. I think your expectations of sitting in the car and what you think is about to happen, I think that needs to be exceeded for you to be like, "Wow, this sounds way better than I thought it would."
I'm gonna take that to the place of y y if you think back, and I'm gonna think back, well, I got a couple of years on you, but I'm gonna think it back 25 years, maybe maybe a few more than that. But if you go and you get a demo of a car and a guy's like, "Hey, I have 615s in the back of here," you expect it to rip your head off,
Right,
right? If a
right.
guy says, "I have 3 eights in the back," you're
Mhm,
like, "Yeah, I've heard 3 eights before.
mhm,
I know what I expect out of 3 eights." I'm
mhm,
always impressed with the guy that has a single 10 that has, sounds better and has more output than you'd expect than I am with
mhm,
the guy you put 412s in a car, you expect it to rip your head off. Like,
mhm,
you just have this high expectation. So, when I see a car that has, big build outs and the pillars and every speaker's on axis and blah, blah, blah,
mhm.
I'm like, I expect it to sound great. Like, if you
Yeah,
went through
yeah,
all that work and it
exactly.
doesn't sound absolutely freaking amazing, then, ugh, waste of time, waste of money, waste of having to stare at an eyesore every day. And in the same respect, like, I have a different set of criteria when I'm listening to a car that's using factory speaker placement, right?
Mhm,
If I can look at a car and not see that anybody was there, not see that anything special was done, and it didn't take re you know, remaking the pillars or cutting up the dashboard or making huge build outs, and you sit in that car and it does certain things really well,
mhm,
then I'm really appreciative of that. And there's
mhm,
certain cars, obviously, it's like putting a woofer in a hatchback. You could put a 6-inch ported in the back of a, you know, 92 Civic hatchback and it's gonna rip. And
yeah,
in the same respect, you take that same woofer and you put it in, I don't know, another car with a trunk, an Accord or something, and it's not gonna do anywhere near what it does. And in that same thing, there's some cars that have speaker placement that works really well, you know?
yeah. You gotta utilize that transfer function of the car.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. we got off track. I felt like we were trying to wrap this up, and then we went
We were, and then it
full
became like
circle
an
again.
extended EP of the pod.
Right, you
So, I
can't
mean, the first one's a EP episode 1.
you don't wanna dice this into 9 episodes?
No.
The 4-minute
It'll be
podcast?
titled EP Introduction All Over the Place. It's a good title.
Here's here's our crazy trains of thought all over the
Yeah,
place.
our next one will be more of a maybe more of a formal introduction background, how we got into it. But this is good because this was just kind of like a little trial and error that I felt like worked really well. Is like the first pod, and I think it's always cool to be transparent and whatever's on your mind goes out there because that's the most organic way to do it. I don't like trying to set something up and be super tactical when it comes to organizing, what we're going to talk about. I think it works better if you just flow and people are interested in the content, they're going to listen to it.
Yep. Yeah, very good. I mean, I literally thought this was just a test and us just making sure our gear was set up and working, but
Yeah. Look at
we'll
that.
we'll
I mean,
mark it.
hopefully it sounds good. I mean,
Yeah, who knows?
there's probably a good possibility this is goes in the recycle bin
Hey,
because the mics sound terrible and there's reverb and echo. I mean, I'm kind of impressed because I think we've only had maybe one or two small dropouts for a second, but other than that, I feel like quality has been good and we'll see. Obviously, we're an audio podcast. So I mean, it's hopefully sounds good.
turns out audio is important.
Yeah. Audio is kind of important.
Yeah, I do have a really good story for a future podcast about, throwing things away. If we could
Perfect.
jot that down in the notes,
Yeah.
throwing
Cliffhanger.
throwing things away. Putting a lot
Yeah.
of work into something and then throwing it away because it's the right thing to do.
Dude, I have a few stories like that as well. I feel like that's going to be a good ep.
Throwing throwing stuff away.
Throwing stuff away.
Episode
Hopefully this episode of the podcast is not thrown away. Hopefully it's saved and it is episode 1 of the old fashioned podcast.
can we do this like Star Wars? Can we wait and release this later as the precursor?
Yeah. But we do need some type of a jingle. We need to come up with that. Hopefully somebody listening can make something pretty dope and then we can insert it
There you go.
and give you cred. That'd be cool.
Or a T-shirt or something.
Yeah.
There I am
I'll give
offering.
you a mosaic shirt and you give them
I'll
one of your
give you a
shop shirts.
used defined concept shirt because I'm out of
There you go.
freshies.
Yeah.
I need to order some freshies. So
And a few poker chips.
there you go. Love that poker chip.
Cool. All
All
right.
right.
I think that's the
Well,
first one.
cheers.
All right.
Cheers to one down.
Yeah. Cheers. My old fashioned's been gone for a good maybe since we started the pod, honestly.
I'll give you a tip for next time. If you
Yeah.
make the ice cubes out of whiskey, your drink will never run dry.
I feel like I should have known that. I feel
Life
like
changing
that's
life
such an
changing nuggets.
I feel like that's such an obvious statement that I don't know why that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a thing. I don't know.
All good.
Cool.
I'm gonna hit the stop button now.